Today we are in the great outdoors, and I want to talk to you about habit stacking. So stay with me. Well, hi everyone. This is Crystal from A Crystal Clear Life, where we focus on planning, organizing, and living a more simplified life. And today I want to talk to you about habit stacking. You may have heard of the term, you may have read the book Atomic Habits or Tiny Habits or Habit Stacking. All of those are great books, and they all kind of focus on similar ideas, and that is to build new habits, to build new routines. Really, the best thing that you can do is to take an existing habit and add another tiny micro habit on top of that, and that helps you continue to progress and build your routines and that kind of thing. Well, I thought that surely as we're going from the season of winter into spring and summer, that would be a great time to talk about adding habits to your already, hopefully, really good structured routine, because that's one of the things that you need to do. You need to take an existing routine that already works for you, like my morning and evening routines, which I'll show you here. And you need to take one of those new little habits that you want to add, and you want to tack it in here and tuck it in between some of these things that you're already doing so that it becomes more automatic to you. Okay, so for example, if you see here on my morning routine, you see I have here feed the birds. Well, I have put a slash next to that and it says sweep the porches because I live in the woods. As you can see, there is always seeds and leaf clutter and catkins and all kinds of stuff all over the porches around my house. And if I sweep the porches every day, that keeps all of that stuff from being tracked inside, which will mean more cleaning for me, which I don't want to do. Okay. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is adding on to those habits. As you can see, I'm sitting outside on my deck, and over my shoulder, you will see there's a hummingbird feeder. And I have a new little camera there that is actually solar charged. That's what the string is for that you can see going across. That's the wire over to the solar charger. And what I need to start doing now that the hummingbirds have started showing up in my area is I need to check those feeders on an every other day or daily basis, okay? Instead of doing it every other day incrementally, I would prefer to just put it into my habits as something that I do every day. And if I check it and I say everything's okay, then I've checked it and everything's okay. If I check it and it needs cleaning or it's empty or it needs, an adjustment, I can do that as well. Okay. So again, taking a look at my morning routine, I need to think to myself, where would be the most intuitive place for me to put the habit of checking my hummingbird feeders in my existing list of routines? Well, I think it should go right there with feed the birds, sweep the porches, and while I'm out here sweeping, I can also check on the hummingbird feeder. Okay, so I'm going to add that in there. Now, as spring and summer come on, there are many more tasks that I have to add to my routine, one of which is checking the pool. We have a small 18-foot pool above ground that sits in our backyard, and I need to check and make sure that it's clean. I need to do a chemical check and that kind of thing. Now, the chemical check I have built into my weekly routine, so that's not a problem. But checking, the pump and making sure that, there's no leaves or, animals or anything like that that it may have gotten in the pool, that's also something that I could add to my routine every morning when I'm out here feeding the birds, sweeping the porches, checking the hummingbird feeders, and then just make a loop quickly by the pool and make sure that everything is okay there before I head back inside. So I'm going to add those two things to my routine, okay? these are tangible things. These are things that I actually can, visually check off and double check. Yes, I've made sure there's food in the feeder for the hummingbirds. Yes, I've made sure that the skimmer is cleaned out. Those are actual tangible things that I can do. And those are really the kinds of things that make things around my house run more smoothly when these kinds of things are done on a routine basis. Okay? Now, you may say, well, Crystal, how do you know that this actually works? Well, let me tell you a little story that goes back about 2 or 3 years. Okay? At one point, I decided that I wanted to start walking more. And so I kind of said to myself, oh, I'm going to get a watch and, count my steps and all of that kind of thing. And, hopefully that habit will kick in for me. Well, I made it a habit of doing it, maybe 3 times a week, maybe 4 times a week. And the problem is that I was not being consistent. I did not set a time for myself to walk. I did not set, an intention every morning. I just said to myself, I'd like to walk a little. If I, can get more steps in, that would be great. Then I started, talking to my husband about this when he retired. And he said, okay, let's do what you talk about doing. Let's build that into your morning routine. And I will walk with you and I'll be your accountability partner. And so off we went. Every morning after breakfast, we would say to each other, okay, is it time to walk? Yes, it's time to walk. And so we would get up and start doing our walk. Now, that has had a tremendous effect on the amount of walking that both my husband and I have been able to accomplish. So that goal of getting 8,000 steps a day is now going on like day 450 streak. That's how long we've been doing this. So simply by working it into the morning routine, doing it right after breakfast, and not thinking, is this the time to walk, but saying, it is time to walk, has really, really helped. Okay. Now, I also add more steps into my day if I can. For example, when I'm cooking dinner in the evening and, maybe you're waiting for something to bake in the oven, or maybe you're waiting for a pot of water to boil or something like that. I will go ahead and get as many extra steps, even just standing in the kitchen and, walking in place or jogging in place or walking circles around the house, whatever it may be. All of that movement is better for me than no movement at all. Okay. And so you can see here, by stacking these habits, by creating something new that you want to do and putting it into an existing routine, you can see how quickly and easily I'm able to have success with those habits that I'm trying to build. Okay, so the formula for creating habit stacking is simply this. After I blank, I will blank. So for example, for walking, it was after we have breakfast, we will go for a walk. Okay. For the hummingbird feeders, it will be after I sweep the porch, I will check the hummingbird feeders. And after I check the hummingbird feeders, I will check the pool. Okay. So you can stack these micro habits, or these, tiny little habits that you're adding to your routine on top of each other, so long as they are cued by something that you are already doing. For example, feeding the birds and sweeping the porches, or eating breakfast. And remember, the reason that all of this works is because it takes those vague intentions of, I'm going to take a walk, or I'm going to get more steps during the day, and it makes them something very concrete, like I will walk after breakfast. Okay. So you're not like allowing for that variability in your day. You know that it's something that you're going to achieve. All right, so the easiest way for you to get started, if you don't already have a morning or evening routine like I do, is to write down the things that you do automatically in the morning or in the evening and create your own morning routine. Those are things that you do without thinking about it, like getting up, getting dressed, taking your shower, getting dressed, brushing your teeth, brushing your hair, those kinds of things. Go ahead and lay those out, and then you can start working these new habits into that list of things. Remember, anchoring them between things that you already do automatically helps give your brain the cue that you need to do that new thing. Now, for some of you, it may be a good idea to either have this printed out like I do in my daily planner, or you could even go ahead and write it out on a Post-it note and stick it on your mirror in your bathroom or on your back door, which is probably what I will do for the next couple of weeks or so, just so that I say, feed the birds, sweep the porch, check the hummingbird feeders, and check the pool, just until I get that kind of set in concrete about what I need to do. All right. So according to the book, Habit Stacking, 97 Small Life Changes that take 5 minutes or less. These small, quick, and intentional additions to your daily routines help you build a productive and a healthy daily routine that actually makes your life run more smoothly, helps you get more things done, and helps you not forget about those little tiny creatures that are depending on you. All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed this quick video about habit stacking. Give it a try if you haven't already. And if you have, and you have some great tips for us, please leave a comment down below and let us know some of the things that you have been able to successfully stack on top of each other so that you can get things done. All right, well, thanks so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. And if you have the time today, even to get outside for 5 minutes and enjoy some fresh air and some sunshine, I think that would be a great recommendation that I could leave you with as well. Okay, until next time, here's hoping that you can live a more simplified and organized life through better planning. I use habit stacking to help me get into new seasonal routines. Until next time, okay, bye.